It's finally Connor McDavid and the Edmonton Oilers' time to win the Stanley Cup. Yes, the Western Conference Finals are set between the Edmonton Oilers and the Dallas Stars. We're going to dive into the impact players and the stats maybe some of you guys have missed going into the series. And at the end, we're going to give our predictions, so you're not going to want to miss out on any of this. So make sure to stay tuned on this episode of Hat Trick HQ. But before we get into it, we got to say that 85% of you guys watching these videos aren't subscribed to the channel. So if you're big NHL fans, just like all of us here on the channel, and you want to keep up to date on everything that's happening around the playoffs and what's coming up this offseason, make sure to go down below and hit that subscribe button. But with that said, let's just jump right into it here. And obviously, the Stars versus Oilers will be an insane series to watch. I mean, I'm really excited for this, Mark. I'm jumping out of my chair here just thinking about it, because I think this series is going to be a banger one to watch. I mean, you have the Stars team who has, you know, that veteran and young star kind of presence there. And then, obviously, you have the best player in the world, McDavid, and Draisaitl on the other side. I think this is going to be such a great series to watch, and I can't wait for it.
No, it should be so exciting. It should be great hockey to watch. It's great offense against great defense. And it's kind of funny, coming into this season, a lot of people might have thought that this was going to be the Western Conference Final. And there's no doubt it is going to be some of the most exciting hockey, not only of these playoffs, but in the past, I'm going to say decade.
Yeah, no doubt about it. West Coast hockey is so much fun to watch. You got to agree with that. Obviously, you're the Calgary Flames expert here on the panel. But we're going to get into the stats here that maybe some of you guys have missed. And so far this playoffs, I mean, you look at this Edmonton Oilers team, they're ranked 1 in power play percentage, ranked 1 in penalty kill percentage, and ranked 2 in goals for. I mean, this team is an offensive powerhouse. I mean, 37.5% on the power play is insane, and 91 on the penalty kill is crazy. I mean, if you look at the other side of the coin, Dallas is only 29% on the power play, and they're ranked 4, and their penalty killing hasn't been the best, so this might be a tough matchup for them going up against the top-ranked power play team. Obviously, they're averaging about 3 goals a game, where on the other side, Oilers are averaging about 4, and the goals against, Oilers letting in a little bit more than the Dallas Stars here. And if we get into some of the advanced stats here, I mean, the goals for percentage, both over 50% for this club, 55% for Dallas, the second rank. Their expected goals for, obviously, is leaning towards the Dallas side as well. And the big thing to look at here is the save percentage stats for Jake Oettinger and the Dallas Stars. I mean, they're ranked number 1 right now in the entire playoffs, and going up against Edmonton Oilers team that is offensively stacked is really going to be fun to see how this plays out this series.
Yeah, clearly what I'm getting from these stats is the key to this series for the Dallas Stars is to only play it 5-on-5, avoid taking penalties, avoid drawing penalties. Whereas on the Edmonton side is, let's draw as many penalties as possible. We're going to score about 8-9 goals a game, and it should be golden. But the big thing here as well is, of course, the Jake Oettinger stats. He has been absolutely insane for the Stars in these playoffs. I mean, he's a perennial playoff performer, it seems, at this point. And what a play by the Dallas Stars at the trade deadline, picking up a great defensive defenseman in Chris Tanev. Chris Tanev is, honestly, that is the best trade made this entire season. It's helping the Stars defensively. He, as a former Calgary Flame, as I would know, has lots of experience against the Edmonton Oilers. Maybe he has some tips and tricks on to shut down McDavid and Draisaitl and company. And having Oettinger right behind him now gives the Stars a really, really good chance here. But that Edmonton power play and the fact that their penalty kill is that good is super scary if I am the Dallas Stars.
Yeah, definitely. If Dallas goes into this series undisciplined, I can't see a way where they're going to crawl back from this, because obviously you got McDavid, the best player in the world, who's dancing around people on the power play like he's on Broadway, and then you have Leon Draisaitl just teed up for that amazing shot, maybe one of the best shots in the NHL right now. I think this team is so good. The power play is so good. Obviously, you got Zach Hyman down there in the slot who's just going to bang him home as well. 11 tucks for the kid in the playoffs. I mean, it's going to be a great series to watch. And like you said, it's going to be interesting to see if Dallas kind of dominates the 5-on-5 and the Edmonton Oilers dominate the special teams like we're kind of seeing here in these stats. It's going to be fun to see that. But we're going to dive into the Edmonton Oilers side of this playoffs series between the Dallas Stars and the Western Conference Finals. And if we take a look here, they say this X factor is going to be Zach Hyman. They say the Oilers will win if Zach Hyman can keep scoring, and they say obviously Zach Hyman has 11 goals for the Edmonton Oilers so far just through the first 2 rounds of the playoffs, so this is going to be good. Obviously, he's generating a lot of scoring chances for this team and is looking really good, and I mean, obviously, when you got McDavid setting you up, it's going to be easy to put him in, but I mean, you still got to put him in, so I hate the Hyman hate. You still got to put it in the back of the net, you know. If McDavid was feeding me or marking from the net, we'd probably miss.
No, guaranteed. I can't even skate, let alone put the puck in the net. But it's so true. Zach Hyman is the X factor here. The only thing about Hyman is, my goodness, pass the puck, buddy. 11 tucks and only 2 apples. What are you doing? Pass the puck around. But hey, when you're making that much money and playing with these guys, there's no problem putting it in. Zach Hyman is absolutely the X factor. If he can keep it rolling against who I'm going to say is the best goalie in the NHL right now, the Oilers are primed to go to the Stanley Cup final. And another guy I kind of want to mention here too is Evan Bouchard. He is incredible right now. The most points by a defenseman through the first 2 rounds of the playoffs in NHL history. The entire history of the NHL, no one's done that. 20 points through the first 2 rounds for him. He is absolutely insane. And why might the Oilers get over the hump this year is because think of the team that went to the Stanley Cup final in 2006. Who was leading that team? It was Fernando Pisani and Chris Pronger, you know? Now they have McDavid and Draisaitl with a good D-core behind them. This really could be their chance. And if they have guys like Nuge, Evander Kane, and of course the X Factor in Zach Hyman tucking those pucks in, they will be playing hockey into mid-June.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, Evan Bouchard was a guy who kind of broke out last season and kind of made a name for himself, and he's just carried this momentum on with him into this playoffs, and it is putting up the greatest performance by a defenseman in the Stanley Cup playoffs of all time. I mean, what an OFD this guy is. I mean, he can also hold his own on the defensive end as well, which is crazy. He's a great all-around defenseman, but, I mean, when you're passing the puck around like he does and shooting and putting those pucks on net, it's just creating so many chances for this Edmonton Oilers team, and to see him have 20 points right now is insane. I mean, it's just great to see that a defenseman is putting up these numbers, because you don't see this very often. And I'm just going to look into the stats here now before we obviously talk about the Draisaitl and McDavid of the team, because obviously we have McDavid right now with 21 points through 12 games, Draisaitl with 24 points through 12 games, McDavid with 19 apples. I mean, that is crazy. I mean, he's really distributing the puck here in this playoffs. And then, like we just talked about, Bouchard got 15 to go along with 5 goals here for 20 points. Nuge kind of picked it up. He had a little bit of a off regular season, I would say, for Nuge, but he has 16 points, 4 goals, 12 assists here, and obviously Zach Hyman with 11 goals, 2 assists. I mean, when you look at these stats, I mean, it's going to be hard to stop the offense of this team. You have a guy, McDavid, who has 19 assists and only 2 goals, but if he wanted to, he could have way more goals if he wanted to. It just seems like he's leaning distributor more in this playoffs and just generating more chances for his team that way. But we all know that McDavid, with the hands, the skating ability that he has, he can score a few goals as well.
Oh, yeah, he could easily have 19 goals and 2 assists if he wanted. It's just Hyman has taken that role. But it's so true. You can't look past McDavid and Draisaitl, of course. And Draisaitl might go slightly underrated just because McDavid is on his team. And there's no denying Connor McDavid is the best hockey player in the entire world. But Draisaitl with 2 points a game through these playoffs as well, against some teams that were supposed to be pretty good defensively in the LA Kings and the Vancouver Canucks. I know the Canucks didn't have Demko and they were down to their 3rd string goalie, but still, these stats aren't that inflated. This team really is that good offensively, and it comes from those 2 at the top.
Yeah, I mean, we look at Vancouver. I mean, Shelov's played amazing in that series. I mean, he looked like a phenomenal goalie. Really kept him in that last game. And I think, if a couple bounces went the other way, we could be talking about the Vancouver Canucks right now. But obviously, we have two of the best players in the world here playing on the same team. Kind of brings me back to the Crosby Malkin days. And I think it's just great to see these guys finally clicking in the playoffs and getting to this conference finals point where I think if they make it to the cup final, I think they win. I think with all the momentum they have going right now on their side, with McDavid and Draisaitl putting up 20 plus points here in the playoffs, there's no doubt in my mind that these guys are going to go make a run for it. But there is a reason here, Mark, why I think that they are going to lose. And we're going to look at it here now. And that is the goaltending. I mean, we have Stuart Skinner, obviously, has 7 wins, 3 losses, which is a great record, obviously, but an 8.81 save percentage. And when you're going up against a team like the Dallas Stars, when you got great offensive guys over there like Wyatt Johnston, Jason Robertson, and many more names, Miro Heiskanen, I mean, it just looks like if your goaltending isn't going to be as solid as the other side, because we know Jake Ottinger is going to be have phenomenal series here because he's just a clutch king. So if the goaltending here lacks for the Edmonton Oilers and they can't get on the power play, I think they're really going to struggle here.
No, 100%. They will need their offense to carry their defense and goaltending for sure. Their defense has actually stepped up a little bit, at least compared to years past for sure. But it is true. Picard came in and he wasn't bad. He actually almost got a shutout if a couple bounces hadn't happened. And then we saw Skinner come back in and he's been pretty good. It'll just be interesting to see. I mean, I would expect Dallas takes their offense to the next level because they haven't fully unlocked their forwards yet in these playoffs. Now would obviously be the time to do it. And the goaltending for the Oilers, they need to ensure that they are strong and just stopping pucks, not letting rebounds go, or else this will be a pretty short series going the other way.
Yeah, definitely. And there's no way in my mind that I see Stuart Skinner not starting game 1. I think the only way we will see Picard come in is if maybe they go down 2-0 in the series or something like that, and they just need a spark, and they put Picard in because he played so well while Skinner was out. So I think that may play a factor into this, because I think if you get a fresh goalie in there, I think, sometimes that sparks a team. So that could happen. But like you said, goaltending is going to be key here. The offense is going to be key for the Edmonton Oilers, because if they can keep it up the way they are right now, there's no way anybody is stopping them. Not just the Dallas Stars, but the teams on the other side in the Eastern Conference. There's no way that this is going to happen. But we're going to talk to the Dallas side and why, maybe Dallas has a fighting chance here. We're not running them off in this series, especially me. And this is, obviously, like I said, this Dallas Stars side of it all. And if we just take a look here, they say that the X factor, the Stars will win if Jake Ottinger can keep rolling. Obviously, they say Dallas needs Ottinger to continue the run of form he's shown so far. And if they keep rolling all the way to the Cup final, I mean, he's going to be a key piece for them. And if we just look at his stats, I mean, a 918 save percentage in 13 games in the playoffs is phenomenal stats from a goaltender. 8 wins, 5 losses. And you see here he has 5 losses, but still has a 918 save percentage. So it just shows the quality performances he's putting in and night out for this Dallas Stars team. And this is why I think the Dallas Stars have a really good fighting chance here, is because they have one of the best goaltenders in the world here in Jake Ottinger, who is in a phenomenal form right now, and they have one of the best D-cores in the NHL, in my opinion, with guys like Chris Tanev, Heiskanen, and just to name a few. I think this team with the D and the goaltending is really going to be their X factor. Not just Jake Ottinger, but the whole, behind the blue line guys are really going to be what, is the deciding factor in the series. Because if the D-man and the goaltending can shut down the offense of the Edmonton Oilers, I don't think there's a way that, the Edmonton can win the series.
No, 1,000,000%. In no way am I disagreeing with you or with Sportsnet. Because let's be real, defense wins championships. That's the classic cliche. We say it in all sports, especially in hockey here. And Dallas does have one of the best D-cores and, of course, the best goalie. But one thing for me that's really big is needing to unlock these forwards. That's the X factor for me for the Dallas Stars. Their leading point getter right now is Miro Heiskanen. It's not a forward, right? If Robertson can start clicking, Hintz, and if Wyatt Johnson can keep going the way he is going, then the Stars have a really, really, really good chance here. And the Stars, look, they're a team who they have the experience. They've been to the Stanley Cup final within the past 5 years. They've made some deep playoff runs, but look at who they have played in this playoff run. Round one, they knock off the defending Stanley Cup champions in the Vegas Golden Knights. It went in 7 games, but it was a really, really good series. They came back from down 2-0. It was phenomenal. Next round, they go against the Colorado Avalanche, a team that lots of people had as their favorite to win the Stanley Cup. Dallas got past them as well. Dallas, they have had the more impressive playoff run so far. Edmonton kind of had an easier first round against LA, and then Vancouver was a little bit banged up, with their goalies not having Besser for game 7. Dallas, they strike me as just a scarier team. They've got more grit, and they have that experience over the Oilers for this series.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that take there. I think what they really need to unlock, like you said, in the forward group is the veteran guys. I feel like these young guys that they have without their bottom six in middle six, I think that they have kind of been showing that, to be more productive than the veteran guys who are there, which is great, because that's why I think that Dallas has been so successful throughout this whole season and into this playoffs is from the contribution from their young players. And if we just bring up the stats here for the Dallas Stars, like you said, we see Miro Heiskanen up there leading the team with 13 points, when on the other side on Edmonton, they have 3 players with 20, which is crazy. But we got Jason Robertson here with 9 assists, 3 goals. I mean, he's a goal scorer. He should be putting up more goals, in my opinion, but maybe we'll start to see that in the Oilers side, but or against the Oilers, I mean. I also have Wyatt Johnson, like you said. We don't have to talk about this guy. I mean, he's a phenomenal talent, one of my favorite players in the NHL today. He has 7 goals, 4 assists for 11 points so far. Young kid, I believe he's only 20 or 21 years old. Then we have the more veteran guys, the Sagans, the Bens, the Dadonoffs, former Hab, just got to put it out there. We got Rupe Hintz, Logan Stankoven, who has been a guy, I'm taking the stats down because you need to look at me for this. Logan Stankoven has been a crazy addition to this team since being called up from the AHL. He has just put on solid performance after solid performance for this Dallas Stars team. And I think this kid's, 19, 20 years old, and he's up there within the top 10 of playoff point scores in his first playoffs ever. I mean, this is crazy. I think Logan Stankoven, obviously everybody knows him from the World Juniors when he spent time with Team Canada, and he's just really proven to be a really solid player for this Dallas Stars team. And kind of what I alluded to earlier was the key to them is to the Dallas Stars right now is their young players and how great they're playing for this team. But you also have guys there like Sagan, Duchesne, Dadonoff, who are going to step up in those clutch situations. And that's why I think that, I think Dallas has a deeper roster than the Edmonton Oilers. And you can eat me alive in the comments if you want, but it's true. If you go player by player, down through every position, throughout their forward group, throughout their defense, and in the net, Dallas has a better team on paper, in my opinion.
No, I completely agree with you there. I'm not going to disagree at all. They have all the veterans they need, and guys, like you say, like Ben, Sagan. But one guy who we haven't mentioned, Joe Pavelski. I think just the fact that he still hasn't won the cup, this might be his last kind of chance. This could finally be the year for Pavelski. I'm putting it out there. He's scoring 3 game winners in this series. I'm saying it now.
Yeah, the king of the tip, Joe Pavelski, 3-game win tip-ins. That's what we're calling here on the channel. But yeah, I'd love to see this Dallas team beat Edmonton. I mean, I just gotta say it. I know you would too as a Calgary Flames fan, but I'm just so, I've been so invested in this Dallas team all season, for some weird reason. I just don't know why. I watched the game and I was like, this team is amazing. And I just, at the beginning of the playoffs, I said that they were going to make it to the conference finals. I didn't say they were going to make it to the Stanley Cup finals, but I might have to now, because the way that their team is playing right now, obviously, you could come down in the comments and say, but they don't have 3 20-point scorers or whatever, but Yeah, they don't, but they have guys who are contributing every single night. Like, they have guys who, are getting a point every other night, and that's what you need in the playoffs. You can't, you obviously, well, you can. If you look at McDavid, you can get 2 or 3 points a night, but, I mean, for the other guys, the average Joes, I mean, getting a point every second game or getting a goal in a clutch situation is really what wins these Stanley Cup playoffs, and like we said earlier, if the Dallas Stars can limit their penalties, I think that they could really have a strong chance to beat this Edmonton team.
No, 1,000,000%. I mean, with that being said, should we get into some predictions
Oh,
here of
yeah.
what we think's going to
We're
happen?
rolling. We're rolling. We're into the predictions part of the video here. And Mark, you got the floor. Who do you got here?
Oh, I mean, I just said Joe Pavelski, 3 game winners in this series. Will another star get the other one, or does that mean there's 4 wins coming for the Edmonton Oilers? Well, this is the most positively I've talked about the Oilers probably in my entire lifetime. I'm sorry, it's not happening, Edmonton. Dallas wins it in 6 games. I just don't see their depth and their goaltending being unmatchable. You know, I don't think Edmonton can get past that. Dallas is going to get it done. They're going to go to the Stanley Cup final. How about you, Casey? What are we saying?
As much as I would like to see a Canadian team in the Stanley Cup final, Mark, it's got to be Dallas in 5 for me. I don't even think it's going 6. I think it's Dallas in 5. I think that they're just going to play some great hockey that I don't think the Edmonton Oilers are used to. Like you said, they've gone up against LA Kings, which you got to give them their flowers. LA, had a great roster too, but I mean they kind of had an easier route. We've seen the Dallas Stars just beat top opponent after top opponent, and now going obviously up against another top opponent. Third time's the charm. I think they're going to beat them 3 in a row, 3 giants in a row, and make it to the Stanley Cup final. I'd really love to see it in 5, but maybe it goes to 6. But we want to hear your guys' thoughts and predictions down below in the comment section. We'd love to hear from you guys. Are you completely disagreeing with us? Do you think that Edmonton's going to completely stomp the Dallas Stars? Let us know down below in the comment section. Make sure to come back to this video when it does happen, because it might. I hope it doesn't, but it might. But we're going to get into everybody's favorite topic here, which is comment of the day. And the comment of the day today goes to Gabriel. They say, "What's with the lid, Casey? Looking spiffy. You have a date or you brokering the big Mitch Marner trade?" And I didn't want it to come out this way, but it is what it is sometimes. But yeah, had to look spiffy for you guys here. Had to do the hair for the one time. You know what I mean? But yeah, I wish I had a date, but no, definitely not. But appreciate you commenting on the video and showing your support. But if you guys enjoy this one, make sure down below hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. We're going to be here every day bringing you NHL content. So if you don't want to miss out on anything, make sure to go down below and hit that subscribe button. And if you want to check out a video we did the other day talking about the Leafs, it'll be popping up on your screen right now. But as always, I've been your host, KC, alongside my co-host, Mark Griffith. We'll catch you in the next one.